Okay, I'm working with a Van Gogh, and this is our source image here. I'm going to begin with an axis line that is defining where this yellow field meets the greenery in the middle ground here. So that'll be the first mark that we make. It's starting in pretty low on the horizon line and pretty much just curls a little, curls back down off to the edge. Then I'm going to indicate an axis line that will indicate where this green grass meets the wheat in the corner of the picture plane here. So come down, something like that. That's some pretty strong marks. I won't be doing a lot of drawing for this painting. Just enough to indicate where the large forms are. The next mark that I will make will indicate this close or middle ground hill here. I'm not going to bother to draw in all of this foliage that is contained in it. So we'll be right in here. It kind of curls, climbs again, down, back down, loses itself off the left-hand side of the picture plane. I drew through these trees. I drew through these forward trees, the cypress here. Next marks I will make will indicate this background mountain range. Starts pretty high on the horizon, curls back in. I'm drawing through these trees. Starts to drop until it's a small, very far away hillside over here on the left. And now we'll deal with the two cypress trees. One starts in just below the forward little hillside here, and it is out and reduces as it gets towards the top. You don't need to spend a lot of time on this drawing. You know that you will lose it very, very quickly in the painting process. So we've got the large one. Then we have the second one that is next to it and is kind of leaning into the first one. Last bit of drawing I will do will be for these trees on the left-hand side growing in the meadow. I will simply draw the whole. There are two trees, one in front of another, but I'm going to draw them all as one shape, just so I know essentially where that is in here. Starts in low on the yellow meadow, and then rises, gets above the background. And that's probably good enough for that. Get into some painting. Initially, I will simply be using white. I'm going to put the white out in 2 places, and blue. The brush that I'll be using throughout the entire painting is going to be a point. So the point brush is the one that we will be using here. And we're initially going to be working in a curvilinear approach in the sky. So it's curvilinear marks, curvilinear marks, curvilinear marks in blue and white. You don't need to spend any time pre-mixing the paint. We want a relatively wet brush for this so that we get some linear mileage out of this brush. And then in the painting, working only in the top part of the painting, we will be making marks that are curvilinear. Don't need to spend a lot of time thinking about this. You've got a lot of ground to cover here. And so, as long as the marks are curvilinear, it works. And we're going to fill most of this space with linear, curved linear marks with blue and white paint. I'm painting through these trees presently. I don't know that I'll be able to reserve them, so. And we're going to cover with curvilinear marks about 80% of this canvas this way. %80 of the sky space, I should say. All with marks that curl. Don't think about it. This is not an intellectual process here. This is more of something out of your nervous system. So, get yourself in a routine going and repeat it. Just about in there. So we have more or less about 80% of the white canvas knocked down with linear, curvilinear marks. Putting a little bit of yellow ochre out on the canvas, on the palette. And if you notice, let's start somewhere else. Let's start with greens. Put a little green out and come back to the yellow ochre. You notice there's a bit of green in the sky as well as the blues and a little bit of really warm white in there. This is where we're headed now. We're down close to the background mountains, but not right down at them. We're looking for an extremely light green, cold green. The green that we have here is a cold green, so you don't have to mix any blue into it. You just go straight to it and some white. And I'm up above this background, these background bluish mountains here. I'm up above those a little bit. And again, curvilinear marks. This time we're going to build them enough that they become fairly solid shapes. But we're keeping our mark making curvilinear, although we're creating, through repetition, solidity in these shapes. We're not right down at the mountains, we're a little bit above them. I see that a little gets over here onto the left-hand side of these fir trees, cypress, whatever they are. And we have a little bit of that right up in here. Maybe a little stronger there. Okay, the Renaissance theory that a little bit of the ground finds its way as color into the sky. Now we're moving into a white that has a little bit of yellow ochre in it, and only enough yellow ochre in the white to make the white warm. So it's almost a pure white, but has been warmed a little with yellow ochre. With that, we're working in some of these areas that are high in the picture plane, high up in the sky. There's a little warmth to the white that's down right next to the mountains there. That's the area we're working in. And again, we're going to work enough to repeat it so that repetition will give us the density that we're looking for. But it's still a curvilinear mark making. We're allowing this to become a little more dense, a little more compacted. Down here, close to the mountain ranges themselves, this was probably a last-minute decision on Van Gogh's part in order to push these cool mountains forward. Be my guess. We're not trying to illustrate this reference we have here. We're trying to paint in the manner of Van Gogh, and that is all. In the manner of Van Gogh. I'm using a little purer white now, and I'm staying more or less in the tops of these cloud formations that I've established. Clouds are three-dimensional. They have volume. Still have a lot of unarticulated canvas in the sky space. So We're going to go into pure white and into blue. We don't need to be too careful about the way we mix this. You can just kind of dab into the white, dab into the blue. And we're going to start using shorter curvilinear marks. Concentrating on the areas that are unarticulated at the moment, those areas where the white of the canvas is still showing through. So we're just loading the brush in a fairly irregular way. And our marks are a little shorter, still curvilinear, but they're a little shorter. Off the canvas entirely right there. You can roll a few of them. May go back to some pure whites in here. Essentially, we're just looking for a very active sky. I seem to have lost a few of my greens. I think I'm going to reestablish some of them. Don't have a lot of time to do these things at home, so I'm working pretty rapidly. You can pause it and work a little more slowly than me, but I don't think that there's a lot of benefit here from thinking too hard about this. As long as we have a rolling activity in it, I think we'll be just fine. That's what that looks like on the monitor. Not too bad. A little linear in one area here. I think that I'm going to build this a little bit more, build up. This is starting to have a pretty good look to it. Might be just about enough here. I think so. Putting out a little more purple and blue, just a touch of purple. It's going to take very, very little. Okay, just a touch of purple here, blue. The reason for this purple is that I want to warm up the blue with a little bit of purple so that it is warmer than the sky. And the way that purple is going to warm blue is by means of the purple having red in it, red and blue. So that little bit of red that purple has in it is going to warm it up a little bit. And it'll take it away from being the same blue that's in the sky. And then we're going to establish this far mountain range here linearly with the brush. Its contour. So we're working with the contour. You need to be high enough in this so that you don't leave a halo of white canvas between this mountain range and the sky space up there. So be high enough in it to take care of that. And we're establishing this all the way across the canvas. There's a forward mountain range within what we're working with. So we'll put that in. It's probably pretty good. Alright, now we're going to work within that mountain range that's in the background, the blue range of mountains. And for that, just into blues, blue, purple. For that, it makes sense to load the brush irregularly. Don't try and load a regular load on the brush that is well mixed. It's better just to hit the blue, hit the white, and then we're painting within these areas. And they're very short strokes that curl. Some irregularity in them is going to be good. It's going to be positive. I don't want to smooth all this out. I want that history of the paint in it. As this mountain range moves to the left, it gets predominantly darker. Relatively dark over here on this edge. let's take a look at that. Let's see if we can look. Would that be okay? I think it makes sense to spend a little time tinkering with the sky to get that exactly where you want it. There'd be no point in you trying to do stroke for stroke what I do. Just get this kind of activity you want to see in it. And when you feel like you've got plenty of energy and activity in the sky, well then that's where you are, you're done. Alright, we've got a pretty good look to this. I might just let it go here. This. Yeah. We'll pick up middle ground, foreground, other things next session.